recorded.
All fired up.
Okay.
Hi.
We are going to do a practice safety drill and teach
Yes, we are.
Blake.
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Zach.
Hi.
And
Hello, Brent.
here we go. Okay, now we want to teach Blake first.
But we should.
No.
Ah.
Because I haven't yelled yet. Okay, I'm just going to yell in Firedrill.
Got it.
Okay.
Alright.
And then I'm going to go downstairs to spot. Okay.
Yeah, it's real.
Okay.
Okay. After you get these rolled out and before you climb down, then I'm going to go downstairs so I can videotape from down there.
Okay.
Okay. Firedrill.
Go. Don't undo it. Oh. I have never done it. Oh. How do you do this?
That's why the practice is necessary.
I'm gonna put it right here. First, do this.
Without the practice, that ladder is worthless.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you should roll this.
So actually the way it should have been done were these hooks should have been put on the railing first.
Yeah.
And then make sure that's taut. Nice and tight. I'll let you do it. That it's not taut. Tighten, straighten that out.
I know. I will.
Okay.
Put
Zach.
this down.
Okay. Put that down. Make sure. Okay. What are the rungs looking like? Now, if these were done first, and if they're not like that, it would unravel real quick. Okay. So he's actually going out and unraveling them, but that should not happen like that. But okay. Now, Brant, will you stand here with the camera? Or actually, no, just stand here and watch him go down. And if Blake is comfortable to go down, or do you want to watch me go down?
No, I'll go down.
Okay, because we need a spotter. So either I go down on the bottom. It's actually quite easy. And Zach's gotten too easy. Okay, so now Zach, why don't you stay there and assist spot? Okay, now I'll go down. Here, Brent. You don't have to hang on to these, because this is going to be when these are tight. When this happens, this is to be assumed that no one is helping you. Okay, because I'll be downstairs yelling, Firedrill, right? And so he's going out, and this is very, very sturdy. Okay, sturdy. You don't want to panic. Don't panic. Panic is worst fear. Do not want to panic underwater. Don't want to panic during the earthquakes. Fire.
That gutter's taking a beating.
All the way down to the porch step. If he were to jump right there, he's fine. But don't do it. Okay? I want you to climb every rung. Very good. Very good. Okay. Alright. Zach, stand here, spot. Spot. What do I mean spot?
Oh yeah, cool.
Spotting means to get ready to cast. So I'm going to do the spot and you tell me what happens. How do you feel, Blake?
I'm alright.
Wow, trooper. What a trooper. What a champ. Doesn't need home free. High five. Huh?